Whatever you do, do not, and I repeat, do not, do a game jam in 12 hours. So, I made an absolute monstrosity for the Wowie Jam 3.0, which ended the game jam is actually still on. So, you're probably thinking to yourself, Icoso, what are you doing? And that is a great question. See, I'm very busy at the moment, so I didn't have much time for this jam and to make this video at all, so I decided to cram it all into 12 hours. The cherry on top, which you've probably noticed, is that I am sick, I have a cold, so that didn't really help the circumstances. So this is the making of my game, Death Again. The game jam began at an unfortunate time for me where I'd probably be asleep. I could have stayed up till the theme announcement, but I decided to be healthy for a change. So I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I woke up, I showered, I had breakfast, and then I began my work. I brainstormed a few ideas, but the one most reasonable to make in a day was a platformer that when the player died, it would respawn and leave its rotting corpse on the ground for the new player to be able to jump on. To progress, you needed to die, so you needed to fail, which connects with the theme of this jam, failure is progress. Quickly, before I go on, I'm hosting a game jam in a few weeks, check out the link in the description. The first thing I did was set up my Unity project and begin the basic player movement. The movement wasn't going to be complex, it just had to work. I added a trail also for a bit of more player feedback, but you can probably see that this is looking kinda bad. I have 2 words that can help me out with this though. Post-processing. Adding a bit of bloom and vignette really went a long way with this project. I made a new tile map and a player sprite, but it was still looking kinda bland. So I followed this Danny tutorial from a couple years ago for a Parallax Background. I've made a couple of them before, but none recently, so this was really fun and I'm actually quite pleased with the result. To add even more depth into the scene, I also played around with a bit of 2D lighting. Now, with these things in place, I began working on the main gameplay loop. I got the functionality for the player dying and respawning, and also respawning its dead body wherever it died. It was a bit buggy at first, but I got it working in the end. Continuing on with this, I began creating the first parts of the stage with a respawn point that the player could activate. So far, things were going pretty well. I also thought of a name for the game, which as I've said is Death Again. This is because you have to death again and again and again and again. So yeah. Next, I worked on adding some colour into the scene. I had a gradient which went between different colours for the floor and the background, and if the flashing rainbow colours come of any sort of context, my last game jam entry was about shrooms. So I continued with the level design for a bit, adding some new mechanics as I went, but now it was time to focus on other parts of the game. This project wasn't going to be long, so I had to find ways to add replayability. I know this isn't the most creative way to do this, but I added a speedrunning timer at the bottom, but the really cool thing about it is that there is actually an online leaderboard system. I followed Sebastian Last Name's tutorial on the Dreamlow system and it worked really well. Unfortunately though, I couldn't set up the HTML mechanics in time, so the leaderboard only works for the downloadable version of the game. Still, for the first time doing this, I was really happy with the results. I also did my part on making a soundtrack for the game. At this stage, pretty much all of my energy had been drained, so it isn't that good, but at least it's something. If you want to listen to it, I'll do a run of the game at the end of the video. I also went through and quickly made a bunch of sound effects using BFXR, which added another aspect into the immersion of the game. The last few hours was kind of a blur, I don't remember much, but it was just polishing everything up ready for building. I built the game to be able to be downloaded and also played in the browser, and I submitted it. This was an absolutely crazy ride, and it definitely could have been better. In conclusion, is this game bad? Was this a bad idea? Yeah, it really was. Link in the description if you want to play it, and thanks for watching. Hopefully, next time my brain actually thinks before doing. See ya. Hey there everyone, thanks so much for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe and do all of the cool things. See ya.